Since 2006, the pioneer in pro wrestling podcasting.
This show is brought to you by IndyWrestling.us and IndyWrestling.network for your independent wrestling entertainment. Slice on Broadway, supporting Pittsburgh podcasting with the perfect pepperoni pizza.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Do what you have to do, make it.
It is the Wrestling Mayhem Show, episode 889. Tuesdays, we've been talking about professionalized wrestling. I'm Mike Sorg, at Sorgatron on the social medias, and we are going to have a fun one here tonight. Our guests are continuing here. We're trying to close out strong here for the new year, of course. But first of all, with us, a return to the show. Let me see which button you are over here. There we go. Cameraman Rob is with us tonight.
I'm that button.
In studio. Yeah, you're that button.
Yeah.
Keep talking so I can check your levels, though.
Hey,
there
do I
he
sound
is.
okay?
Ah,
I can hear
yes.
myself.
Yes.
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 Okay.
We're turning it up to 11, sir. Back with us, and we're going to talk about you were at AEW.
Yes.
Well, it's funny. You were at AEW Pittsburgh in the crowd.
Yeah.
And then you were on the other side of the barrier for Erie.
Yeah. And I got a lot of, like, when I was at Erie, not so much like, what are you doing here? But a lot of like, why weren't you here last week? You know, so that's nice that
That is nice. That is nice.
yeah,
So
that it's not a surprise that I'm there at all.
we'll
It's
talk
just-
about that later in the
Yeah.
show. So, I often say this is a show where we all started out as wrestling fans, and now we all start as people that work something in the wrestling business, and it's kind of fun that see that progression happen. Also with us, somebody who works both sides of the camera is Reese Hayes, the 880 champion, joining us for the first time here. And there's a belt. That's the proper, not what I tweeted earlier. The
There's a
880.
zero there.
There's a zero there. Yes.
yeah.
Welcome to the show, Reese Hayes.
thanks for
I'm
having
sorry,
me.
amateur wrestler Reese Hayes. is your-
Cameraman Reese Hayes tonight. I think.
Cameraman Reese Hayes.
Yeah, why not? You know.
Is it amateur wrestler / cameraman, amateur cameraman.
I get paid more for that than the rest.
Camera wrestler Reese Hayes. Yeah, sure.
I'll
we'll be
take it.
talking about that. We're going to talk about your long road to that title. Your exceptionally long road to that title.
Yeah.
And everything. So and also the first wrestler out of the 880 Training Academy or T2T, I guess, Training Academy to get their own compilation special on the Indie Wrestling Network. too.
Oh yeah. The road to the first win.
Road to the first win. There
That's
you
big
go.
time, yeah.
So we'll talk about all that. But of course, we like to talk all kinds of the wrestling and in a positive light for the most part. We try a lot. The biggest thing, well, we usually talk WWE here at the top of the show, but the biggest thing WWE that's on my mind, and partially because I had a digital media rant on AwesomeCast earlier this evening, mostly if you're familiar with the Discovery Sony issue, but we're not getting into that, but we could maybe as part of this. The big news, if you're a physical media collector and knowing wrestling fans and the ones that come to our tables at the indie shows, you are. That's a broad stroke, of course, but yes, like wrestling fans tend to still buy DVDs, but you will not be buying new ones from WWE from now on. Apparently, according to a few sources, they are going to be ending their agreements. U.S. I think they said in the U.K., Europe, the last DVD release is going to be Crown Jewel, and the last one in the U.S. will be the Survivor Series. I know as one that gave all of my pay-per-view recorded VHS tapes to Dutters when the network started, but I do still have all of my DVDs. I understand it going away. I understand people are not buying it. I feel like the only place you could buy WWE DVDs anymore was Walmart. And some people don't have the internet and streaming and would like the thing on the shelf. I understand that. Believe me, I've had that conversation a lot. That's why we're still doing DVDs here with IndyWrestling.us. What are you guys? First, Rob, I know you are a recovering digital or a physical media collector yourself.
Yeah, I was never like I think as far as the WWE DVDs, I was a big fan of the compilation ones.
Sure.
And it was a good way, especially once they got all the catalogs, to get your WCW and ECW stuff, especially the ECW, which I didn't watch when it was on, And once also, and speaking of, where this store isn't really around anymore, but you had your FYEs. They would always have a lot of the good stuff too.
Sure.
And
extensive collections, right?
Once certain people were no longer, once people became kind of persona non grata with WWE, you would have to go for the DVDs to get,
you mean like the Chris Benoit Hard Knocks DVD that's proudly sitting on my shelf still?
Not even necessarily that one, but a lot of the shows he was left on too.
Yeah.
And
man, there's that WrestleMania.
Yeah,
there's on
that,
the cover.
The unedited WrestleMania. Or guys that would have a falling out with the company to where it's like when you would have, let's say, like Jericho would have a compilation where they would leave certain, Benoit was one of them, but you would have other guys that were no longer.
It wasn't some of the gold too. Like I know some of the VHSs I did hold on to were ones like the ECW One Night Stands, because they would edit things out or change the music, especially anytime they used Metallica.
Yeah, and
never survived past the live show.
Yeah, and I remember I had the tape, whatever the second one was, like the 2006 one, where Van Dam won the belt. Like I still had that on VHS somehow.
And those aren't going away. I have some Coliseum home videos from the 80s that I still hold on to.
Or even
I will death grip those.
Or even stuff that was never properly, popped up on the network, but I still have like the the September 13th SmackDown.
I have the Eddie Guerrero one.
Yeah. And stuff like, or I had the Benoit Raw on DVR for the longest time,
Yeah.
But once the network came along, I kind of got rid of like most of that stuff. Well, also too, when the network came along, you had the not cleaned up, but remember when the logo changed? And they blurred everything.
I picked up the WrestleMania box set around that had 1 through 20 and a bonus disc of 21.
Yeah.
And that Attitude Era scratch logo cover up is the worst bullshit I've ever seen.
And it's one thing when it's like, the music and stuff, I get it, but they just massacred the.
It was so bad. And some of the graphics they would take off, like the Snickers and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, no, I want to watch the original with the karate fighters in the corner. Okay, if I don't have it's karate fighters or bust for this stuff, right?
But I think it was around the time that the network became a thing that it's like, you got there were certain shows you checked out where it's like, did they have the the Benoit stuff, the ECW with the swearing or anything? Did they really leave that in, or any like controversial moments? But also on top of that was the no more blurred logos. It was around that time. I can't remember if it was before or after, but you had clean shows for lack of a better term.
I want to get the Reese's response for this. We have some chat room happening over on YouTube right now. I'm really glad I pulled up this chat on IndyWrestling.us. Oh no, actually it's the Mayhem show. It looks like. Actually, I don't know what the hell I pulled up. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I want to say these names, and you're going to say what camp. I want to say what camp do you think they're in?
Yeah.
We got Scotty Swemba, and we got Toddy Tundera, and we got referee Sean Patrick, the recently retired referee Sean Patrick, by the way.
Which means he'll be back in about 7 months.
See you in 3 months.
We sure hope so.
The over under on retirements is about
I made a mistake
months.
and said happy first retirement, and he says this is 6th.
Yeah.
So I was not there for the first 5.
Remember when RJ City retired?
No, I don't.
Like 10 years ago.
No,
Almost.
I don't remember
it was like
that.
8 years ago.
Oh, was it like for a comeback later in the show? I'm sure I was there for it.
Well, no, he was gone for about 7 months, and now he's doing the most in his.
I know, right? I know, right?
Yeah.
Is that crazy? Yeah. RJ City was the one that. Well, I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't going to make it, but to this extent. Scotty, VHS tapes. Toddy says VHS all day, and. And also, David Laws can go kick rocks. Let's go, Reese. So there you go. Cool. Got some fanfare already. And Sean Patrick says, still have my tapes, ... somewhere. So that's the other problem, right? It's a box in the back in the corner beside the old porn.
But I have a lot of pay-per-views on tape still, but never rewatched any of them.
Yeah.
But it's like I paid $30 for this thing.
And I made copies of a lot of the pay-per-views growing up that I would rent and I have like that's the reason why the Royal Rumble, 1992 Royal Rumble and WrestleMania 7 were watched so much because they were on the same tape for some reason.
WrestleMania 7 was the closest I ever saw anything to live. The first tape, because like a friend had recorded it, and then like 2 days later I made a copy of it.
Still never saw a pay-per-view. Still never saw a pay-per-view until 1996.
Yeah.
Reese, what is your digital media background or your physical media background?
I got a lot of Blu-rays.
Okay.
Tons of Blu-rays.
Whoa.
I know. I'm rolling an HD over here.
I don't even have a Blu-ray player, but I have a lot of Blu-rays.
Damn. Wow. No, yeah.
Digital codes are nice.
So WWE's not doing like any physical media anymore?
Apparently not. They're all going away according to these stories. So
yeah, growing up, like the compilations was like a big one for me. Like I remember like the greatest stars of the 90s was a big one, and they had like a whole Intercontinental Championship compilation. Like that was my jam. I used to love that.
Or like all ladder matches,
Yeah. Yeah,
most
I had a couple of those.
Most unusual matches was one. There's one that was just all the animals in WWF in the 80s for a while. And it was just like, I'm here for this, you know. It was so wacky. And that's what my video store had. And when they sold off everything except for like the WrestleManias and everything. And I'm like, I'm grabbing. I have a Brutus the Barber Beefcake VHS tape. In the old clamshell, right?
I remember being like when I was first getting into wrestling around the winter of '89 or so, kind of going into the Mega Powers Explode, like it would have been when a little bit later on when SummerSlam '89 was hitting video, and I forgot, I got my mom or dad, I got them to, it's like, oh, get me this from the store.
And they were like $60 at the time.
But I'm like, oh, get this from the video store for me, right? And they'd accidentally got me SummerSlam '88, which predated my getting into wrestling by like 5 months, but I'm like, this is so old. This is so, who are these? It was like the last show the British Bulldogs were ever on or something.
Who are the Killer Bees?
Who the hell are these guys?
Oh yeah, there's definitely like a line. Like I went back and watched the first Survivor Series, and everything was 5-on-5.
Yeah,
they had an incredible 10 tag team Survivor Series match.
Yeah, where you couldn't see anything.
Oh, you can see shit.
Yeah,
And then like I found out like all these happened like an hour and a half away from my home.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why did we never go to a live show? Like Survivor Series and SummerSlam happened at the Richfield Coliseum.
Yeah,
it blew my mind that when I realized that later. I'm like, Mom, why did we never go? Yeah, you knew how much I watched this stuff.
Yeah, like the Rosemont Horizon was my home arena. And
exactly.
I went to like a house show, and I didn't realize they were there like every 6 weeks.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
But those days where you just like you're in this silo. But so Reese, other than Blu-rays, what did your wrestling side of the collection look like?
It's very minimal. I mean, I had a couple DVDs. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't. I didn't get big into wrestling until I was probably like 8 or 9, I guess. And my mom wasn't buying me a whole lot of DVDs at that point. And then I got out of it for a while. And by the time I got back in, like they had the network, and I started watching a lot of stuff on YouTube. So I never got into like really collecting wrestling DVDs or anything of that nature. Got a lot of movies though, and I got a lot of CDs in my truck, but that's about it for physical media.
You have your own personal Spotify. I got it. Yeah. This makes sense. I mean that they're kind of moving along. I think everybody's seeing Best Buy's physical media getting smaller and smaller. I think even they're going to stop selling DVDs or something, or Blu-rays, right?
Today was my third time in the last month and a half where I had to ask them for something new that was saying on the website that it says they got 3 in the store. Where somebody must not have put them out. And this is like I bought Titanic today at 4K, and it's like
wait. Yeah. Let's pull back and say you bought Titanic in 4K.
Yes,
that's a good purchase
in 2023.
Yeah, it just came out,
and it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it looks real good.
It's fucking gorgeous.
It is.
But and they're finally starting to roll out.
I don't even have a 4K TV.
They're finally starting to roll out the Fox James Cameron stuff that's getting remastered. But but earlier and like a couple months ago, there was like I forget like a Friday the 13th Steelbook or something, right? Which was a Best Buy exclusive that they were like, oh, somebody must not have put those out. And this is like the second or third day it was out, and I had to ask them for it. It's like, are you trying to?
I just order online now. I stopped going to Best Buy because it's just a pain.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
That's what Amazon's for.
Yeah.
It's like, or even Walmart.com.
And
right?
it's like, I get it, but they're not even trying with what they have.
It's really strange. It's very alien to go in there anymore and just not see giant rows of things on a box.
Yeah.
They don't sell CDs at all.
Oh, they
which is
killed that.
devastating.
Yeah, they
for
probably
me.
have vinyls maybe because those are the hot,
They might,
right?
yeah.
Like we've kind of like skipped back away, which is kind of cool for like you want to get into it. So Scotty says every time I see Reese, he looks more and more hillbilly.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really.
And talking about CDs in your truck really adds a level to that.
Yeah, camera guy Reese Hayes, truck guy Reese Hayes. I have many personas.
Truck guy Reese Hayes. That's going to be the title of the show right there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, it's. I mean, that's going to make the value go up. I already saw Joe Dombrowski saying, hey, they're not selling DVDs, but we got plenty at ProWrestlingLibrary.com. And so do we at IndyWrestling.us, by the way.
And it becomes like a what can I part with? Or,
yeah.
Like I've been a big eBay seller for like 2 decades now.
Yes.
And it becomes okay, I know I can get good money for this right now, so I'll sell it right now.
Wait 3 months when it's like, oh, you can't get anything, and everybody's like fiending for
And
it.
a lot
really
of it
bad.
yeah, just anything is timing.
I think it'll come back though. Like VHSs are pretty hot right now. I mean,
what?
They
Really?
are. Yeah. I mean, I'm obviously like they're not making a lot of new ones.
Yeah.
No, but because some people have been, like okay. Like I know, like didn't and Toddy, you're in the chat room, so correcting me, but weren't you doing a project where you were putting things onto cassette tapes, audio, and then like digitizing those off so you could have like that do I want to call it cassette tape flavor to it? Like, am I imagining that was a project that you worked on? Like, is the same thing happen with VHS where they're taking like newer things, backlogging them onto VHS for that look? Is that what we're talking about?
No, so I mean like so for instance, Scotty shot this no ring show in Morgantown, Negative Outlook, that MV and Cowpoke and Brandon St. James were all on. And they released that on DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS, which is so sick.
So is that like our friends at MegaCat that did WrestleQuest? They do the retro games, and then they'll release this on an NES cartridge.
That's
like it's like that kind of vibe.
And
Yeah,
I imagine with the VHS too, you got to play it. It's almost like remember the Too Hot for TV, kind of.
Oh yeah.
That really scummy, marketing for it.
I just think that there's a market for it, like there is for VHS.
Niche. It's niche now.
Yeah, definitely. And the same thing's going to happen to DVD because that has an aesthetic that you can't get on Netflix or whatever. So I don't know. It'll all come back. It's just the way of things. Just like how records are hot right now and CDs are out, which is a bummer for me and my truck. But it's all going to come back.
I got a 6-disc in my car that I'm just like I think I used this once.
Yeah.
It was already gone in 2014 when I got it. Oh damn, I've had that car a long time. That's holding up though. We have a lot of conversation about this in the Facebook chat room, by the way. Tien in Seattle says, wasn't much of a collector of WWE physical media, but oh man, would go to the flea markets with my grandparents and get NWA WCW VHS tapes.
Yeah, I never saw a lot of those.
Me neither. Like there would be 2.
Yeah.
Like at the video store, right?
Yeah, it's like I hope you like Wrestle War 90 or whatever because that's the only tape you're gonna find or something.
Matt Birch in the chat says Derek Dillinger used to have best of compilations of his matches on VHS not that long ago. That fits his gimmick,
That's
though, right?
really
That's
cool.
actually. I think I've seen that at people's tables, and I'm just like, did you just put a bunch of your matches on VHS to sell for stuff? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, that might have been him I talked to about that.
That's got to be expensive to do, I imagine.
I think it's more time consuming. It's
sure.
more time consuming than anything. We were doing. God, why did I had to have a VCR handy for a law firm within the last decade, and I can't remember why. We were doing some kind of conversions for them or something. I was like, what were we doing?
Or depending on who they're representing too, it's like your grandma's still got a VCR, so. I know
at least one guy in the Pittsburgh area with a bunch of beta tapes on their shelf, and I really hope that they're somewhere else.
Yeah.
Of an old TV show, old wrestling TV show in the area. Podner says you only get the warmth of the video from VHS instead of the digital coolness of DVD and Blu-ray. See how crazy that sounds. Listen, let me tell you about some Star Wars tapes that I have.
Yeah.
That I hear the Blu-rays are really bad. So you got.
Yeah, that's a whole different story though, because they went in and did the VFX and like really.
That's why I hold on. I own the Star Wars black box set for forever.
Yeah, I want to say it was about the time Episode 3 came out, and they did another reissue of the original trilogy, where at this point, the special editions had replaced everything. But as a DVD extra, they included an earlier, not the original cut, but it was, like say like the 1980 re-release, whatever the print was from that, where it's like you got your, kind of what you were asking, but it was one of those be careful what you ask for, because it was, I mean, it didn't look like shit, but it was, but they didn't remaster that. They didn't, you know what I mean? They didn't make it look
looked
any
like
better.
a movie from the 70s.
Yeah, and it's like that's exactly what you're asking for, isn't it? But then you get people that are like, oh no, but I want it cleaned up. I want it, it's like, no, you're lucky to get this.
I mean, it's weird seeing like the digital Jabba the Hutt. Though.
Yeah.
Like I don't want that.
It is weird. It is strange.
Like,
it is really strange.
And that's from an era too where it was a little jarring at the time too. Like it doesn't blend well.
You know what I learned? You know what format I learned about the behind the scenes of the Star. Oh god, we're going off on an offshoot of the Star Wars redone trilogies in the 90s. I had a multimedia CD-ROM.
Oh, yeah.
That came with a box set of Star Wars games.
Yeah.
That was about, and it showed all the behind the scenes, and there was like an early version of like a Skype thing showing George Lucas on a video call.
Yeah.
What they were like a previs of something, like of a Tauntaun or something. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? It blew my. In 1996, it blew my fucking mind.
That sounds like a Babbage's. Pre-order Shadows of the Empire.
Oh yeah, it was like it was one of those, but it was when they were doing the box sets, and it was the I still have the box actually and the discs, but it was like your TIE Fighter first 3 levels of Dark Force is like TIE Fighter, the Rebel Assault games, those FMV ones, and then the box was like. It was a box with an open window, and it was plastic, and the discs were like just kind of plucked into the plastic, like not even like functionally afterwards that you could. So they basically had no sleeves.
Yeah,
and you're just like, fuck you. Here's some bare CD-ROMs. And then that one of them was a making of for the new trilogy.
It's like they're treating it just like your free 20 hours of AOL.
A little bit. It was just like, but it's a fucking Star Wars game. I paid a lot of money for these. So, anyways. If you guys let us know, good times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. What do you think of the going of physical media in professional wrestling? And if you want to, would you like wrestling on VHS? If I started making something, I really don't want to do this because they're 3-hour shows. I don't even know if I'm going to fit them on a VHS. Well, I mean, I guess I can. Would you buy VHSs at our DVD table? Is that a thing that people
would do it?
I mean,
the Brandon St. James of the world, the Frank DeVille's, like they would do it.
Somebody would do that. Yeah.
I saw when I went and visited my mom like about 3 weeks ago. Visit family, go through my stepdad recently passed away. We went through some of his stuff, and I saw one of my VCRs. That when I got out of the military and had all of the shit sent to my mom's house and then left a lot of that stuff there, it made me want to like plug it in and see if it still worked. But then modern TVs, I'm not sure I even have.
You have the adapters.
I mean, you might be able to take like RCA cables or something.
Yeah,
and probably still. So I was like tempted to be.
I have a couple of them. I'm really afraid to put a VHS in it.
Yeah,
but it's like I'm never getting rid of VHSs.
Yeah, well, that's why you grab one that's not important first and go.
Yeah.
See if this even works.
Yeah.
So.
I've been trying to pitch like a best of 880 VHS or even a DVD would be sick.
Yeah.
Like a season 1 of Thursday Night Fights or whatever. Like just some of the highlight matches. Doesn't have to be super.
You know what?
intense.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about this after.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
But if we did like a Kickstarter pre-order on VHSs for 880, I'd be down with it. But we're not making a stock of it.
Sure.
We like I cannot. We don't have we're still supporting DVDs for VCW, RWA, and to PW.
So it'd be more just kind of a made to order kind of thing.
And we're really other than like those first, like we make a handful and then like, it's pretty much made to order from there.
Are DVDs tough to make?
Time consuming, man.
Yeah.
It's just time. It's like, they got to it takes like 15 minutes to burn the master, and there are duplicators, but it's not like back in the day. Listen, I'm from safety training where in 2010 I was still developing CD tools for Windows 98. Because that's what they had in the mills, and we had to make sure they're compatible. We were doing VHS tapes until about 2008, and that was like a stack of 10 VCRs, and hope nothing messed up that we had to redo the video.
Is it just like play, record, like
record,
Yeah.
Play, record. Yeah, that's what it was. Like I did my master on VHS and handed it to the lady in the office, and she started doing duplications. And then, God forbid, somebody finds a mistake when they're watching it back, and hope you aren't too deep into it, or else you ain't going home tonight. And I was salary. Fuck me. That's some PTSD that was coming back.
No, poor sword.
And this is why I work for myself.
Yeah.
And
now you have no problems whatsoever. with digital.
Don't get me started. This is a bad week to get me started on that. Shit. Hey guys, but digital or physical media, we got you covered. IndyWrestling.us and IndyWrestling.network. Don't even worry. You know what? I will send you DVD covers to print out and put them on your shelf in a case, and as long as you subscribe to the network. Go ahead.
That's a good deal.
I actually had a guy in Germany that wanted our DVDs real bad, and I was like, listen, what if I send you will pay for the DVD? I will send you the master and the cover art, and you go do it yourself, because it's going to take you 6 months to get this DVD through customs, okay? Because we did that once.
Or what I like with the 880 stuff too is it's like that for the monthly shows, there's pretty much like everybody's got kind of a themed show, right?
Yeah.
Like to where it's like there's your cover art right there.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's really
best
nice.
Of Reese,
it's really
best
nice.
of Brohemoth, best of whatever.
Yeah.
Just everybody's had a show.
Oh, I don't. But wait, I've been very, very happy with the graphics situation at 880. And if you've watched the last couple of weeks, I am very excited about some of the stuff we've been doing with the graphics at 880.
Yeah.
So,
JCP's the guy who's been making all the posters. He's been
JCP. God, shout out to JCP. He gave me some masters for the last. That's why you got all those graphics.
Yeah, those are sick.
And now we got templates, and all of you guys just got pictures. I'm just like, fuck, this is what I've wanted forever.
It's good. It's
so, good. And you guys are the test bed. Like 880 is the test bed for what we're doing.
Almost like a real promotion.
Almost like a real promotion. When you're having licensed shows.
That's why I said almost. I mean,
almost,
right there.
almost. I mean, no, once a month you're legit.
And that kind of again feeds into the gimmick of you're selling copies of the show out of the back of your truck.
I mean, that's the kind of place, I think if there's ever a physical media table, physical media table at 880, it should be hosted by the Anderson brothers, and they're drinking icy light, and maybe they're still cooking hot dogs like at the barbecue. I don't know, just because, and like it's gonna be a whole that's a place where just like buying a T-shirt from Delirious in 2009, where he's not really he's just speaking just enough English and babbling to sell you the T-shirt, and that's it. I think it needs to be an experience. I think that's what's missing here. You need experiential things. It's not just a DVD in hand, it's the story that goes with it. I can tell you the Delirious story when I pull out my T-shirt for Delirious, right? Anyway,
speaking of again, just kind of the different medium too.
Anyways, IndyWrestling.us is where all this is stuff. Oh, Revenge show just dropped today from 2 weeks ago. It is the Thanksgiving Eve show. It's a Wednesday Night War. PB Smooth and Bill Collier, if you like big guy slapping meat, that's one for you. Also, Derek Dillinger and John McChesney with a very surprising ending. And what else happened? The Neon Blondes and Andrew Palace and Katie Arquette, a match that I filmed a promo for at a wedding.
So is it a match made in heaven, match made in hell? Kind of a.
It's more like a match made in Hollywood, match made in neon. I don't know how you build that, but that was for Revenge to figure out. So go check out all this stuff at IndyWrestling.us, and of course, our man Reese Hayes and the crew at 880 Wrestling every Thursday night fight. Season 2 just started. You can see I think we're at 52 episodes of 880 Wrestling as a whole.
Because they started the week of Thanksgiving.
No, well, we started with the network.
Yeah. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know where the
It
other
was
one is.
Thursday Night Fights was February 2nd.
February
2022.
2nd. Yep,
2023.
yep, was the first one, and we went from there. And it's between the Brawl After Bingos, the monthly shows. Where I looked, we're at like about 52 episodes.
Nice.
So the most prolific wrestling promotion I have ever worked for.
We're crushing
with-
it.
I
I love it.
I was just thinking too. You know how cool the old like the backyard wrestling video game with 880 would be.
Oh my God!
That would be-
You realize there was a TV and somebody brought a PlayStation in, and they were playing backyard wrestling while wrestling was happening in the ring. We cut to the wide shot, and somebody's sitting there playing backyard wrestling. How fucking amazing and meta that is!
And we work with some of the people that are in that game.
Very-
too. We've got M
Very-
Dog on a show.
We
this
have M
week.
Dog on 2 shows this weekend. Yes, yes. No, I am not.
Yeah.
I got to work with Madman Pondo for the first time a couple months ago,
Yeah.
and he's coming to VCW this month. So, yeah, no, I'm a little excited. It's very cool to play video games with people you know in them. You know, it's very surreal. Every time I see Britt Baker when I load up Fight Forever, it's kind of weird.
But that's why I had to play through with Wardlow first. You know,
Yeah, right?
Fight Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. But like, oh, I'll pick Michael.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it was like, man, I still need to get walking wild to the WWE Championship. But anyways, Reese Hayes, that's what we're talking about here. One day he'll be in a video game, I'm sure. So why not?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
We'll see.
there's a lot of options. You got Retrocade, you got WrestleQuest, you got, there's a lot. War Horse is in a freaking video game, right?
Yeah.
Like it's happening. You have a lot of options. What if you had to pick of the type of video game of wrestling video game that's out there, what would you be in? This is your
like
interview now.
Like an 8-bit.
Yeah, like an
Like,
8-bit. Or would you
yeah.
want to be in a more simulator like WWE? Would you want to be in a action arcade that used to be the Chikara game? The old N64 throwback that is Fight Forever.
Something where like the screen doesn't move. It's just little, just me and my little singlet.
Oh, like Nintendo Pro Wrestling with Starman? Is that what you're talking about?
Sure, probably.
There's a T-shirt idea there.
Yeah.
But anyways, so you are you probably started what in I think most of you guys started in August of last year in training, correct?
Yeah,
when
correct.
The T2T Pittsburgh opened up.
Day one.
Steel City Killers. How did you come across the 880?
I was working for Enjoy. I was doing their ringside camera stuff, editing with Scotty, doing that whole thing. Really digging it. I'd been a wrestling fan for a while, but never really thought that I was cut out for it. And then I was shooting Enjoy. I was like, I could do some of this, not to like talk down on the Enjoy wrestlers, obviously, but it made it a lot more accessible than I had previously thought. And and then MV Young was like, I'm starting up a school, and I was like, get me in there, and it was awesome. I really didn't expect to take to it like as well as I did, or like that's not what I mean to say. I mean to say I didn't think I would like it as much as I do. I thought that I was just gonna. It's something that I always wanted to try. I thought I would give it a shot, and that would be that. And then it turns out that it's really addicting and it's really fun. And once you get over the pain that's kind of constant,
Yep.
it just becomes it's the greatest.
That's the reason I'm holding a camera. Yeah. I was like, oh, I need to stay outside. But no, that's great. You are amateur wrestler, Reese Hayes. That is the full given name I'm given.
Yeah, and
That
I
is
like
my
people
understanding.
to remember that first part, that amateur wrestler part. I think it's like the most important part of the name. But people always, the amateur wrestler, I get a lot. I don't really.
Oh
like that.
We've had a few conversations about this. It's
Yeah.
like, you're like, hey, on that title, and I was
And
like,
I hate the quotes.
the quotes was the
Quotes
problem.
a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
But also,
there's a lot of
everybody
things.
had a moniker too. It was just like, really, does everybody need a moniker?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that it's not supposed to be a moniker.
Yeah.
It's kind of like amateur wrestlers.
Hence
first
my
name.
confusion. And
Reese Hayes is the
listen,
last.
there's always a growing pain with new people. It was like, I'm going to misspell it. I'm not going to understand what the context here. It took us 3 shows to figure out what a terrible dog was. You know, like especially you're interpreting whatever notes you were given / what's on a whiteboard / do they even have a Twitter account for me to check? I don't know. Right. So like it's a whole thing when you're kind of getting.
I mean, I'm not making it easy on myself. Like with with a gimmick like this, you know, it's easy to mess up. So.
Why did you hone in on the amateur wrestler aspect in your personage?
Ah, man, I thought it was really funny.
That being an amateur wrestler in pro wrestling, is that it?
Yeah, well, there's that, but also I like the way it sounds. Amateur wrestler Reese Hayes is just it just sounds funny to me, and I just liked the idea of you have an amateur wrestler, like a high school wrestler, basically, who's just kind of plopped into a professional wrestling environment and is just struggling to make that work. And, that's why I went 0-44.
Yeah, and struggle you did. And struggle you did. That was the story of most of your first year here as a wrestler.
For sure.
And like, I don't think you even won in other promotions from what I saw either. So
I still haven't won in any other promotions. So.
Okay. It's very, so I want to call out something that I witnessed something of a miracle at one of these shows. I'm sitting there. It's Taco Mania. And I see you come out, and I was like, oh, I guess he's in the match. Okay, I guess he's not helping Scotty today. And you get eliminated from the Battle Royal here in the streets of the Southside Works. I got
eliminated first. And really quick, too.
First. And then before the Rumble was over, you were ringside holding a camera, I think.
I was shooting some Patreon some behind-the-scenes content.
Okay. I'm just like, he was already dressed, already shooting some video.
Yeah.
I'm just like... Talk about double dipping.
Yeah. I did end up shooting the second half of that show ringside, though.
So. No, appreciate that. And also, I know, it's great we're working with somebody that knows what the other side is like. So
definitely.
Is he like the Rocky Reynolds of 888, or of that, where he's running, he's running things behind the scenes, for talent, but he's always in like the first match. Or he's always in the second match.
That's really Casey War.
Yeah.
Casey War's more that guy than I am.
He kind of is.
Where he's like, I'm gonna be in a match, but I got to get it over with because I got shit to run.
Yeah, that's Casey. I don't do so much for 880. Really,
Rocky Romero. That's what I was saying. Not Rocky Reynolds. Rocky Romero.
I was gonna say Rocky Reynolds.
Rocky Reynolds.
Were you watching Erie?
No.
Oh, he just sits in he's just been sitting in the crowd for the last 6 months,
Yeah,
and then starts a fight with Derek. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking Rocky Romero.
It's interesting that the behind the scenes production person walks out and yells, "I'm going to drink their fucking blood."
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we have sound problems, it's like, "Where's Casey?" It's like, "Oh, he's drinking blood."
Yeah.
In the ring. So
he doesn't even yell it when he gets out there. He yells it in the stairwell before he's even in the crowd.
It's horrifying. It
is
every time.
And being out by ringside, you can't hear shit. So he's
no.
He's
just yelling at us.
Yeah,
he's in production.
We like to call Casey War a shoot psychopath.
Yeah.
So.
Like, anybody behind the speakers can maybe hear him.
Yeah, the people downstairs waiting in line for the bathroom are like, I'm not going in there. Because when you're in that stairwell, whatever you say in the stairwell, I don't know if you know this. This is a secret of 8A Wrestling, Dottie Block. Whatever you say in the stairwell bleeds through to the bathroom. And vice versa.
And the basement.
And the basement
whole
and everything. So there's like a lot of opportunity for awkwardness there. So imagine somebody taking a dump. Can they hear?
Imagine if you can.
Imagine if you can.
No.
You're just, trying to take care of yourself in the middle of a wrestling show because you had some bad tacos. And then all of a sudden you hear come from behind this door, I'm going to drink their fucking blood at the top of somebody's lungs.
We have only the best tacos at Taco Bell.
Yeah. No, this wasn't Taco Mania.
No.
This is
separate.
This is separate from
These
Taco
aren't our
Mania.
sponsors' tacos.
Like street tacos, something from the street fair up the road.
Yeah.
Something that I did get sick off of. I'm not gonna say what. I don't even remember which one it was. I did get sick the first Friday show with the street fair off of whatever I got from the truck. So
I tell everyone that's going to come to an 880 show, especially like the Friday shows, it's BYOB. go to the bathroom beforehand.
Absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
It's just not worth it most of the time.
No, it's not. You gotta like mentally and physically prepare yourself. So
Just treat it like it's going to be a 3-hour movie.
yeah.
Get everything out of your system.
I'm here to watch the oh god, what's the Apple movie that just came out? The
the Killers of the Flower
Killer of the
Moon,
Flower.
of course,
I,
movie.
I saw it was 3.5 hours. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And you're not.
It's good. You got to check it out.
I'm sure it's good, but it'll be on Apple TV next
I
month.
just don't
I
have
will.
the time
If
to
I
make
can
it out.
pause for a bathroom break,
Yeah.
I'm better for it. Okay.
I
I'm
saw
just
it in
saying.
the theater. I sat through that one.
If it was in that Dolby with the comfy
Seasons
chairs, I might
changed.
listen. I came out and it was fall. It was
Yeah,
weird.
my God.
Yes. But anyways, so you went through this losing streak for a while.
Yeah, a couple months.
For a while, like for most of the year.
Yeah.
So just couldn't get it under you, and then finally, I think it was the biggest pop at 880 was you finally got your win over David Lawless. Yet you technically had a win over Shaw Mason the month before, but he came out and reversed it.
Yeah, there was a pesky chair in the corner. I didn't put it there.
Yes. So, and I think you were the one that helped instigate the first NWO trash throw moment, if I recall.
No. The first trash throwing moment was when Lawless beat Cowpoke for the title. Paul won the championship in the ladder match.
Yeah, I don't think
in
I was there for
February.
that.
You were
Okay.
not. Yeah, Scotty shot that one. And yeah, he won in the ladder match, and then immediately after, Lawless through some lawyer shenanigans came out and challenged him.
That's so Lawless.
Yeah, and then he won.
What?
And yeah,
Yeah.
that was still insane though. Like, because I don't know who started the trash. We definitely didn't expect it to happen. But yeah, and then it happened again. Pretty much every time Lawless does something shitty, people throw trash, and I'm all here for it. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely. We had Gianni on a few months ago. He seems nice out of the ring. He seems nice enough.
He's putting on a character.
Yes, exactly. You had your big match with him last month and finally won the title, of course. So how's it feel?
It feels good. This thing's it's heavy though. No one tells you that.
Nope,
It's
nope.
like it's metal and like leather.
Oh, you can hear that on the
my
microphone.
shoulder, I dislocated my shoulder just a couple weeks ago, and it's like it's tough.
Heavy is the burden. Heavy is the
Indeed.
burden. So, so you're carrying 880. We're going into season 2. How are the vibes?
The vibes are immaculate. The vibes are, we got the Dangerous Knights crew out of control, which is exciting. But no, everyone's super stoked. The season 2 thing's really funny because it's just a made up thing. I don't know if you know this.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
But as far as-
Kayfabe, brother.
As far as indie promotions go, this is the longest
literally,
running episodic weekly.
I showed up the day of the show and it was like, we're season 2 tonight, bub. I'm just like, well, fuck, I should make new graphics.
Yeah.
So there's the last big show. There's the MV Young's Very Legal show that happened the night before Christmas 2. And this
Thanks,
is
you.
how packed it gets.
was a
They're
good
up on the
crowd.
ring. It was crazy. We really need to talk about some logistics for our camera people here because it's getting too crowded. So, MV, I'll talk to you soon. But anyways, you got the video screen. You got this going on. We have Trons now. We're figuring that out. This thing is building. He's got that sweet new jacket to lose in. It is a fucking sweet jacket, though.
It's good.
That entrance jacket is pretty great. We were like feeling it in
You
the
got
back.
the bathroom in the background.
The bathroom in the
Somebody was good enough
background.
to close
By the way,
door.
Sydney Von England, they made their entrance from the bathroom last week.
Missed it.
It was amazing. We're just like in there waiting, and I'm like, I don't see him up here, and he just bolts out of the bathroom.
I don't think we caught it on the stream though.
Yeah, I think. Well, oh man, I hope.
I saw it on the monitor, but I think that the angle on the stream was off. But it was good. It was.
Yeah, I saw it.
really
I saw it on the. I know I saw it.
But just the idea that we have everybody just piled up in the bathroom, just waiting to make their entrance.
Yeah. Like one guy's taking a shit, the other guys are just like warming up. And you're just like, what is
Somebody's
happening?
putting their makeup on, in the
Yeah.
back. It just
Well, the only when Christian Noir is there.
Yeah.
And somebody's complaining because he's getting pain everywhere.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So it's been really to see this grow, see what we're doing in production. We have trained some really good videographers out of this program that we've been doing. It was a pipe dream like about this time last year. Actually, I think I kept asking about this time last year. I didn't know it was going to happen because I kept asking MV if we were ready for it, and he's like, not yet. So
Yeah, we were not ready for it in November of last year. That's or December even. That was it took some time, you know. I don't even know if we were ready for it in February, but
some of those early matches were rough on a lot of sides.
Yeah, definitely.
From production to in ring, it is when I was putting together your road to the win thing. I'm like, here's the first match and here's some lead up, and I put that first match in. I'm like, oh no, like Toddy is so wooden in comparison to where he's at now. You know, and just like that. But that's the thing when you guys have a week to week thing like that to see like I swear you guys have 3 years of experience in 6 months.
For sure, we've gotten a lot better really quick. I mean, yeah, that first Thursday Night Fights match it's funny to watch because I mean that was me and Brandon's like 4th match or something, and then you know now Brandon's like 75 plus matches in.
Yep.
I think I just hit like 62 or something.
That's crazy. You guys are all giving Cowpoke Paul a run for his cage back.
Ooh,
dog.
yeah. Cowpoke, yeah. There's no competing with him.
He wrestles like about 128 times a week or
Pretty
something.
much, yeah.
Absolutely. He's nuts.
I mean, he's like averaging like 10 matches a month. I
Yeah.
think.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
It's pretty wild.
But that's how you get good, is you turn up those reps, right?
Yeah.
Matthew Birch in the Facebook chat. I loved. Oh wait, no, that's the wrong part. Sorry, hold on. Where'd it go? Where was the really nice one that I was about to say? So it was Thursday Night Fights has really changed my life so much over this year, and I am truly grateful for it.
Damn, that's nice to hear.
There you go. There you go. Growth of Reese is on his way to picking up his first win was really the best story told in all of independent wrestling this year.
It's kind of like the reverse Goldberg streak where he loses 178 matches in a row and then beats Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be fun if we just like padded that number and it's like, I don't know, he's just losing matches in the alley while we're at it.
I was told
picking
to do
fights
that.
just so you can
yeah.
lose them. It just
People wanted me to do that. Like, it doesn't matter. Just I was pretty accurate with it. I was keeping track.
It helps that most of the matches were on every week. So
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
But anyways, yeah, this is great. And also Matthew is the one that made a lot of those videos. This is True Prince of Pro.
That's True
This is
Prince
True
of
Prince
Pro.
Okay,
We
just connected in
love
my
True
head.
Prince
Oh
of
my
Pro.
God, yes. Love that we're playing the videos that he worked on for the Thanksgiving show. There will be more of those. There will be more of those in the near future. So we're working that out. We're working that out.
It was such a like spur of the moment thing too.
Casey said they worked on it in the last 24 hours.
Yeah,
And I was like, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean he basically set it up. I had made that the promo for me and Gianni, like the like recap video basically, and Gianni really wanted to show it before the match.
Yeah.
And so we were like trying to figure out how to do it, and Casey was like, I've got this little projector, and then he just went in to the gym like beforehand, set it up, and then we were just kind of all texting. It was like, well, it would be cool if we all had like Titantron videos, and Gianni was like, well, I have this one that Prince of Pro made, and Casey and Brandon had the same thing. So yeah, it's awesome, and now we're just keeping it up all the time, and we're all gonna start making our own little entrance videos.
Well, now we just gotta do green screens, and well, here we are.
And then we're almost like a real promotion. It's
almost
very
like
exciting.
almost like a real. Every indie promotion is almost like a real promotion in the long run, right?
You're gonna give Vince a run for his money.
It's like we were talking about before the show.
Yeah.
Every wrestling promotion, not indie, every wrestling promotion is almost like a real company. You know, it is really. I will drive this home. And this is not just wrestling. This is production. This is whatever job you have. It is not better if you go to a bigger company.
Yeah, I'll get into it later. I'll get into
Maybe
it
not
later.
too deep into it,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
like
not-
I just
The similarities.
I mean, and not that like the big companies are bad or anything. I'm just like, you deal with the same stuff to make a show happen. You know, the stuff that you guys are. First of all, I will say this. You guys are more organized at 880 these days. It doesn't feel like it sometimes. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, but you guys are more organized at 880 in some companies that I've seen run for like 20 years. Like, really.
We're getting our shit together.
Really, yeah. Like you guys are like a masterclass training program. You've hit some highs, you had some lows, and you guys fucking worked through them. And it's been really, really cool to say. Here to sit at the end of the year and see what is happening here is fucking special, you know. And I'll put that over to anybody, and that's real fucking cool. And I really think it brings everybody up. You know,
Yeah.
People don't have one place in Pittsburgh to work their shit out every month. And that's cool. And I see people from everywhere too. Like this has been great.
And speaking, kind of speaking of that too, it's like, everybody works everywhere else, or not everywhere, but, other places too. So you're kind of taking that knowledge there and, hopefully improving things elsewhere.
Yeah,
too.
I mean, it's not lost on us how special it
You have
is.
a very good opportunity here.
Definitely. And like, we're all, I know, like, I've watched y'all shows with the other killers on here, and everyone says that we're all so thankful for MV. And absolutely, I am too. It's just like he decided to do something that I think no other indie promoter or company was brave enough to do, which is put on a weekly live stream, like a live show with students, and it's been paying off for everyone. So
A lot of people have pitched the idea to me, and he's the only one I believed.
yeah,
So
makes sense.
That's the truth right there. Hey guys, speaking of believe, we thank everybody that believes in us here at the Wrestling Mayhem Show. Thank you everybody that does support the show. You can hit us up at Good Times.
Good time.
Thank you. Somebody knows the gimmick. Good Times at WrestlingMayhemShow.com. I'm just I realized nobody else is here.
I just don't shriek it.
That's okay. Zoom kind of broke that for us with the thing. Also, thank you to our Patreon supporters at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. Our friends supporting us over there at the fan show level. Bo Diggity! Woo! Help me out here, Rob. You know these gimmicks.
I know it, but
Ed
I
Burke,
usually
Team
don't.
Hema Face, and Tupac Families, Tyler. I never asked how to say your last name.
Okay, that's new to me.
Tyler from the Tupac family.
Oh,
Let's
nice.
go with that. Let's go with that.
Oh, Tupac
Also,
Family's a patron now? That's
yes. Should I just announce you guys as a Tupac family? I'm going to go with that.
That's what we call them.
You know what? It's just one of those things. When I get friend requested by a wrestler and see their real name, it's like the same thing with the Tupac family. Like you're just a Tupac family to me.
Yeah.
I see the real name and I go, what? Oh,
No,
right.
no. You are not. Yes.
They love it though. They are the Tupac family.
Absolutely, it's great. Poppy Club, Dave Prop Honor, spouse of Roost Jewelry Affair at roostjewelryaffair.com, and Rats in a Trench Coat Tony Kincaid at the Pizza Club level, Doc Remedy, The Riz, and Lance Fisher, and at the manager level, Bradley. You guys can support the show too. I'll say your name weird at patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. We do have a lot, guys. The show, we had a whole other Wrestling Mayhem show last week with Marco and Honey Darling. And to the point where I actually started putting clips of it out on TikTok. So definitely check that out. A lot of good content if you didn't get enough of them last week. And sometimes we talk about movies and stuff too. So, and some of the stuff that we're maybe we don't want to put on the internet, but maybe 10 people can know about this story. Like those kinds of things. Let me know what I really thought about this promotion I went to this weekend or something like that. So, and I'll tell you about how I surprisingly stumbled across wrestling this weekend. Let's make that one of the teasers for this one. So patreon.com/Wrestling Mayhem Show. Hey, we're a bunch of video guys here. Video peoples here, video professionals here, if you will. First of all, Reese, obviously we've seen you ringside at Enjoy Wrestling, and sometimes after you've done a battle royal. But you actually have a quite an extensive background in video that I don't think a lot of people know about.
Yeah, I've just been making movies for as long as I've been doing anything. I guess wrestling was my first love. But I think wrestling kind of got me into filmmaking in a weird way, because one of the things that I remember most about wrestling as a child were the video packages, the big epic promos. You
got into the we're making movies here, pal.
I did, yeah. For sure. Yeah, the Sean Taker one. I mean, there's two of those, and they're awesome. With running up that hill, there's just videos like that I was super into as a kid, and those definitely kind of got me into filmmaking. And then I've just been doing that ever since, making movies, working on movies and stuff.
What's your YouTube again? I'm trying to remember where it is. I know I subscribed to it.
Yeah, it's called Dashing Agent.
Dashing Agent.
Yeah, it's a Twin Peaks reference that no one gets. Yeah,
he's a real video guy.
Yeah, I love David Lynch.
Oh, I'm in somebody's account. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, hold on. Let's see. What is? This was mentioned. Is this a movie that I'm pulling up here? This is the dashing agent
Oh,
Cobblestone.
damn. I did not expect to promote Cobblestone on
Well,
here.
like, hey man, we are a multifaceted wrestling show.
Yeah, that's my buddy Russell. This is a web series that we made over like 5 years, and I cut it into a big 2.5-hour movie.
Oh gee.
Yeah, it's no joke. So yeah, you can scrub through it. I star in it with my buddy Eric.
There's some nice trees. Oh
Yeah, that's my buddy Eric. Like I said, I mean, we started making this in 2018.
Wow.
2017 probably, and didn't finish it until last year. So like this is episode 3. So this was probably like 2019 that we made this.
Hey, that guy's
Yeah,
that
there
guy's
I am.
familiar.
Shorter hair. Yeah, I don't know. This is just a big project that we were working on while I was working on the Netflix show Mindhunter. We thought it would take us like one season of Mindhunter to make a whole 7-episode web series, and it took us 5 years to make. So it's funny. Check it out. This is
And I will also point out you were sitting in the exact same place on the couch that the lead of Mindhunter was sitting several years ago.
which one, Holt or
Goff.
Groff?
Yeah, Groff.
Nice. I love Jonathan Groff.
Yeah, we were doing a piece with him and the guy that was in season 2 that played like Professor Pig and stuff on
Nice.
Gotham. I can't remember his name, so it was hilarious because I like they're like, oh, this guy that does this all kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever. And he comes in here and sits down and does the stuff, and we're talking about Ninja Turtles. And then the studio, the Missy was because all the office stuff was all in this room before, and she's like messaging me like, that's the guy from the rival school in Glee. Yeah. I'm just like, what?
Yeah. Or like, he was in Hamilton. That was like his big
yeah,
thing.
Chachi got really pissed at me about that when he's like, why didn't you tell me King George was in the studio?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I was like, all right. So
He's great. He's such a sweetheart.
he's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I was so glad to see him in Matrix.
Yeah, right. He's
That
in the
was
new
really
Matrix
cool.
movie.
So, and what was that one with Batista recently, too?
Oh,
Yeah, the Knock at the Cabin.
Knock at the Cabin.
The
door
M. Night
was really,
Shyamalan
well.
movie.
Really, really cool. So, so you could go see that. You can see another aspect of Reese here. What are you shooting on here? I want to get technical for a moment.
Oh, what are my movies?
Yeah, yeah.
I shoot with a Panasonic GH5
Mm-hmm.
that I started with. That web series was like the first project I shot with that, and I've been using it ever since. Scotty and I are actually shooting a short film in like a week and a half. We're going to
Nice.
shoot that one on the Sony A7S III, which I'm very excited about.
Nice.
I don't use full frame cameras very often.
I think that is not too far off, if I'm not mistaken, on the Sony that they did the what was it? The one with the AI robots. I
Yeah.
just watched it.
I'm trying to remember what it's
The
called.
Creator?
The Creator, yeah. They shot that on the FX3 or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's the same sensor.
And I know we're getting a little off here on things, but they're like well, let's call them prosumer, about $4,000 cameras, right? You know, like more than what we film. Well, I guess Enjoy films wrestling on those, and they film an entire theatrical movie, and cameras are like $30,000 typically on movies like that. So and it's a really cool thing that's coming down the pike on a lot of this.
This
stuff.
is really funny to see. Like I didn't expect you to pull up my movie on here. So this is like kind of hilarious.
So if you're on audio, go look up what was the channel name again?
This is called Cobblestoned with a D at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It's about me and my buddy Eric play some substance abusing like paranormal investigators sort of. It's real silly. Yeah, I know. I mean,
You should have a watch party at 880 now. There's a screen.
So funny thing about it is we finished it like late last year, and I had a big premiere out at this little theater in McKees Rocks called the Parkway. It's like the Parkway Theater and Film Lounge. It's really a bar that has a movie theater in it, and so we had a premiere on December 2nd, and it was awesome. And then December 3rd is when I had my debut wrestling match, and so I was like promoting it as the weekend of Reese. I was like, come watch my movie, then come watch me wrestle. It's going to be a great weekend.
I like it. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, it
so
was awesome.
you know what? I don't know. I just kind of slotted this as video talk. So did doing the video help translate when you were doing video for wrestling translate when you were training? I guess is the question. Like, did it help does it help kind of inform why you do some things a certain way when you having that knowledge on you?
So I will say this. I don't think that it helped that way, but it has made me, I guess I started shooting wrestling first, right? And I would get upset or like I wouldn't understand why wrestlers would do things the way they did or why they wouldn't, respect me as a cameraman more. And then I start wrestling and it becomes really apparent that everything else just kind of fades away a lot of the time. And it's in that skill of playing to the camera or doing that is really hard. And I'm still not very good at it. So it's given me more respect for wrestlers, I guess, in that, it's like I understand why when wrestlers are, hurt or whatever, like they're not just like, they're not going to the camera. They're not performing for the camera a lot of the time. It's because it's hard to do. And you're thinking about other things. So that's been interesting, but yeah, I don't know. I guess doing that just kind of, gave me more respect for the business as a whole, and it taught me something about wrestling that I didn't know, just how things worked. So then when I started training, I kind of had a built-in knowledge already just about the business, if you will.
You know what? You had a very interesting run-in. I think we're going to save it for Patreon, and we talked about before the show. But you did have an early step into wrestling about several years before this, and I understand got scared away by a very large individual in McKeesport. There's a lot of very large. That is one very particular large individual that I wouldn't want to see angry. So we'll save that for Patreon for you guys later. So,
yeah, sure.
It
could be like an 8-year vet at this point, but
it could have been.
It wasn't meant to be.
You could have had the longest losing streak ever in wrestling.
I was just saying, in general, there's a lot of large people. I don't know.
Well, it's something if I say they're a large person.
Yeah.
So, there's not too many people in wrestling locally that are bigger than me.
And most people are large compared to me. So
there you go. There you go. So
it's all relative. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, want to give a shout out. Oh, no, we're going to go commercial. What is it? You know what? We're just going to play these. Let me make sure Top Rope Tabletop's not in here real quick. And okay. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk with Rob about his behind-the-scenes AEW experience. Are we allowed to talk about this? You didn't sign
the scenes and in front of the camera.
And in front of the camera?
And in front of the camera.
What?
Sort of. In front of a camera. It's just, I could be seeing it parts. I still haven't rewatched it, but I imagine.
I gotta say you did a very good job because I didn't notice you anytime in the show.
Yeah,
I'm just like, right, Rob's here. Then literally, I'm watching the show. I'm halfway through the show. I see your post where you're pointing at the wide shot when they come in from break, and you have an arrow on where you were sitting the entire time in the front corner. I'm like, oh, good job. I mean, it's good I didn't see you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not supposed to fucking see you.
Yeah.
So. Good job. Good job.
And I was able to, I'll get into it more, but as far as my duties, I was able to move around and stuff while still.
You did a lot more than I expected they give you. They gave you a lot. They gave you a lot for your.
And my camera guy was like, he's like, oh, good, you're a wrestling guy. Because I was talking about.
Oh, you're like me at MMA. Oh, good, you're a wrestling guy. Let's go.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, there's a lot of explaining they don't have to do.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
See? Exactly the same as what I have to deal with. So exactly the same.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll be right back after this.
Introducing first, fighting out of the 4-1-2.
She just flew in from Orlando.
This is
Picture's worth 1,000 words. With Super Oprah.
Super Oprah is one of the most unique athletes I've ever seen.
Absolutely. Partner for okay. I have to wrestle it her way as much of a factor. That is the task that awaits.
Well, you got your answer, Jason.
Things have taken a turn for the worse for Danny Moe. Of the Neon Blonde. Oh, wow. Is the anger fueling Oprah?
Tornado DDT.
Bonanza that has been Super Oprah.
Look out.
Here is your winner.
Get bigger than Super Oprah. And if you can't handle it, Jim, maybe you ought to go home. Right out the door.
but never mind that.
There's only 3 real men in RWA. So send out another one of your little boys.
Oh,
shit.
boy.
Oh shit. HL Supreme coming in. He wants a piece. Hank, get the hell out. In my eyes, definitely HL Supreme. And through the chairs he goes. Go again. Oh, he misses.
Sternum.
Has him in. What a German.
For wrestling. Beautiful second. Sorry.
Trying to gain it back here. Swinging. Reverse neck breaker. Goes. Oh, my goodness. Has him. Oh, my goodness. Ace is high. Lands him.
Flush.
1, 2, no. Patch, damn it. You could say, here comes Gory. HL Supreme victorious
In a time of 8 minutes, 28 seconds.
Pack here, so we're going to unpack. If you lose us and you're not already over on the network, that's on you, bud.
We are back, and we're just talking wrestling woes or production woes at MMA.
Yeah.
Maybe that we'll get into on Patreon too. So let me tell you, we should do a breakdown of like what is different about MMA versus since we got everybody here, shooting MMA versus wrestling. So that I think that would be a lot of fun. Reese, we should get you out to the MMA show.
I'd love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a blast.
We got one coming up.
We got one coming up. It's staffed, but you're welcome to hang out.
Yeah.
So I could always use some help in the back in case something goes wrong. Which
Yeah. Well, you said
inevitably does.
Missy's going to be coming from.
Yeah,
like,
but
away
we're
or something.
not doing the planning here. We're going to talk about AEW. This is a very weird show because we're talking about DVDs. We talked about independent films, web series, and now Rob's going to tell us about yanking everybody's cord in Erie for AEW.
Not everybody.
So I don't know. This is nothing. This is production. You are not privy to anything. I think typically they, because we know another friend of ours does set up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think more stage. Sounds like you were doing more production setup, right?
I did pretty much what I do all the time anyway.
I've been training you this whole time for this job?
Well, okay, because it started on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah, it was because it was.
This is Erie. This was for AEW's Collision. That was Saturday night in Erie, Pennsylvania. First time a live television show, wrestling show, has emanated from Erie, Pennsylvania.
I guess. No. I think they said that like WCW and WWE might have run their.
I'm told it was nothing but house shows.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what it was.
I saw that stack come somewhere.
Yeah. But the building itself is probably at least 30 years old, because we were joking about it, like, as far as running the cables and stuff. And it was, I remember I was running cables for, like some of the hard cams and stuff, some of the, like the end of the arena shot. Well, like you were talking about that shot when they come back from break and it's kind of coming right up the middle, like where I had to help run that like halfway around the arena, where it's a lot of, okay, you're running this cord up the side of the bleachers where fortunately it's blocked off for just production people, but then it's got to go up around the side of these stairs and then up
So like nightmare scenario when we're doing setup on little time
up into a suite and not, or whatever would count as, it's a suite but it's open up, but then you got to run it across 4 different suites, and then you've got your hook connecting with one of the hard cams in the middle, and then you're running another cord. So it's a lot of like line of sight. You should be able to go in a straight line, but I'm climbing through windows and and climbing through different sections of the bleachers to get.
This actually sounds fun.
Yeah, under different circumstances it might be, but so Friday was like a lot of setup, and it was just all production people, and there was me, there were like 3 other local utility guys, and then the head utility who does all their shows. His name is Joe, and I think he's only been with them since like August or something. He's relatively new.
Okay.
But I imagine he's done all that stuff other types of shows, or just working with different crews or something. But he was pretty cool. And we were there at 9 a.m. and we left about 7:30. And in that time, it went from nothing to the ring is set up and the screens are set up and the lights are set up. I think it was about the time we were leaving that they were doing kind of their final tests. But yeah, we didn't handle much more than just running video cables and things. And it was interesting. The other guys I was working with weren't even necessarily wrestling guys, but had done that stuff.
They were just the local guys.
Yeah,
or
local
something?
guys. And I really found that out like the next day when we didn't have to come rolling in till like 3:00 the show day, and that's when I start seeing all of our friends around, the local Pittsburgh guys that are fishing for work where
all the extra catering guys.
Yeah, and some of them I talked to already, like Mambo and Savage Gentleman, and like Danny Moe was there, Lady Frost of course is on the show, was Ring of Honor, and like Tito Ulrich was there. But then I run into like Cole Carter, Lee Moriarty, guys.
Here's the shot from the
that's where I was during the show. But right away I'm like I'm going up to these guys and talking to them, or like Cole comes up to me and we chat for a few minutes, and the utility guys are like, how do you know these guys? And it's like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
It's like it's like I've ridden with a lot of these guys to
to other shows
out of town, out of Chicago, New York, and places like that.
That is so weird. It's so I've experienced that going to Chicago, and like I'm like, God, I'm in Chicago, I don't know anybody, I'm on an island, and then like fucking Beastman walks in.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just like, shit, okay, or Frost and Benjamin, or Facade and Danny Moe, right? Like it's really cool to be like literally across the country, or even like doing for WrestleMania week, I end up just working with all the Cleveland guys.
Yeah.
In LA, in Hollywood. It was like real fucking surreal.
Or like I said, kind of running the roads with these guys, where it's like, I think like Cole Carter has slept in the back of my car. I haven't slept in the back of my car.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's like we show up at like 3:00, and then we find out.
Wait, but the tiny car?
What? Yeah, like my little Mazda.
Oh God!
Or not Mazda, my Chevy Spark.
No.
Which is and he's like a half a foot taller than me. And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
And I remember seeing him like sleeping with like his neck cranked at like a 90-degree angle, and it's like, how does that?
Yeah.
Because you kind of have to in that car.
He's a specimen for a whole different reason.
Yeah, but yeah. So we always show up at 3 on show day, and you see everybody, and you see like all the the regular AEW roster guys too, who aren't our friends, but who we've worked with on multiple occasions. Like like RJ City was around. I didn't get a chance to talk to him, but I saw him a couple times. Was like Dalton Castle was there, who's Pittsburgh adjacent. Yeah. Like Shane Taylor, I think, was there. And then it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have rehearsals at 4. And we weren't even necessarily needed for it, but I went down. But we went, and it's like, here's gonna be your spots for the show, and talking to our camera guys that we're assigned to, and like you can see in that picture, I was down there, and so on my side, I was to the right of the hard cam in the shot, where the guy I was working with, I think his name was Jim, who shot AEW, and then the other cameraman I worked with later is Gator, who I've
heard of Gator.
It was Gator.
I've heard of Gator several times.
It was one of those you hear.
Yep. I've heard Legend of Gator from Ring of Honor. Yes.
So he came down and worked the ROH show ringside, and I think Jim went to hard cam. So I think
Wait, so the old ROH guys are just working new ROH now?
I think. Well, I think that's the plan, is to get. That's why. Well, like Mark, the director.
Yes.
Yeah, we know Mark from having worked New Japan. And I, after rehearsals, I hung out with, I went and ate with Mark and the camera guys.
This is so interesting, because again, like I'm used to hearing the stories from our friend that does crew, and he's just doing bills. He's not doing camera stuff or anything. He's just doing like set build and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he would be so you get a different perspective.
And very I know at the WWE shows, and I'm kind of fascinated that, and I don't know if this is a thing that happens there too.
Yeah.
But at WWE, they're very big on you do not talk to the talent.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was expecting. But then when people are coming up and talking to me, it's kind of different. And when you would see, like say if you didn't know any better,
Yeah.
you know, you would be like, okay, maybe this is somebody because they're going up and talking. You know, granted it was lower card guys, you know, but it's
still,
But at that show, you don't have, you know, it is middle and lower card mostly. Like you had, you know, like if you watch Collision, the main event, it was Danielson, who was probably the biggest name on the show.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And Kingston.
Yeah.
And Kingston, it seems to be the Kingston FTR House of Black show. It seems to be what Collision has become.
Yes.
So that's kind of your upper tier of those guys. But then there were so many people that were still around that just weren't, you know, like anytime you saw a backstage promo, you know, like you would think, oh, I haven't seen this guy out here. They must have pre-taped this somewhere, you know, but it's like, but no, they were all, you know, anybody you saw on camera that wasn't just, you know, like there was the Moxley promo where he was just sitting out back. Well, he might have even said last Wednesday, but like he wasn't there. You know, you didn't have Omega, you didn't have the Bucks, you didn't have Sting, you didn't have Darby. So there were a lot of guys there, but then so many others that weren't. And then not everybody was on TV, and not everybody, like I said, Cole was there, but he wasn't given anything to do. You know, and Lee was there, but he had a match on ROH. And then there was a match, you know, one of the ROH matches, which, you know, no spoilers or anything, but at the end there's like a pull apart, and all of a sudden all the guys that I forgot were still there. Yeah. You know, because I've been out ringside for the last 3 hours. Yeah. You know, they come running out, you know, as like security, as they normally do on these things. And like I was telling you earlier, you know, that segment kind of culminates in the most, you know, Pittsburgh indie centric segment. Yeah, you see
just because everybody's out there, right?
Between one of the wrestlers in the match being a Pittsburgh person, between the camera guy, Gator was filming. I was running cable for Gator, and then like 4 of the security guys were Pittsburgh indie guys, where it's like, oh yeah, there's you know, a big chunk of your, you know, Pittsburgh indie scene represented in that part there. But it was a very long, like I said, rehearsals. It was like 4 to 6, and then okay, open doors, and they're letting people in, and they still didn't know when the show was going to start. Like they bumped the doors opening. It was going to be 6:30 doors. Yes, you know, for like a 7.
And I've heard about this before. I've heard a wrestler that's on the Ring of Honor roster at another show talking about how they were trying to make a double shot. Yeah. And they were like, oh, they set up all the Ring of Honor stuff, and we usually do it before the show, and then they didn't. Yeah. And so I had to miss the other, because I think he was just trying to add on another show or something since they were in the area. And like they did the same thing. They set up all the Ring of Honor stuff. Yeah. And then set up all the, I think they set it up, and then they set up the Collision stuff on top of it.
Yeah, because for rehearsals, all the ROH stuff was up. Because I remember, because they were shooting, you know, they were going over entrances and the lights out spots. Yes. You know, those kind of, you know, just to make sure everybody was going to be in the right spots. Yes. And so on. And so when House of Black was chilling in the corner, you know, during their thing, it's like, it's over the ROH, you know, buckles and stuff. Or like when Abaddon came out and was doing their entrance, you know, in sweatpants and whatever, you know,
which had been an experience.
Yeah, not very spooky, you know, but
still face painted.
No.
Oh yeah.
No. So, and at first, to where I didn't know who it was, like I know I'd seen him backstage, but you're seeing people that like, okay, I know who this is. I know this has got to be somebody, but I forget who. You know, like it'd be like a Nightmare Factory person or something. You know, or the boys. You know, I forgot who the boys looked like. Yeah. Yeah, but then they're you know, they're doing rehearsals, and Abaddon's videos comes up, and then Abaddon comes out doing what they're gonna do, and it's like, oh, right, okay, that's who.
Yep. That's awesome. What's the biggest thing you learned from? Actually, no, we'll do what you learned here as what you learned. Yeah. So
I kind of learned, like we rarely have anybody to. We rarely ever have anyone to run cable for us. Yes. Like, I think when I worked New Japan, that's the only time really I've ever had.
We used to have it in Elizabeth a lot, and then it just, that even faded away there for some reason. They just weren't getting the trainees to do it for some reason.
And So it was interesting.
I don't know. Reese usually helps us up at 880.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you okay out there? And I'll see on the hard cam. I'm like, oh, Reese is helping you out. There you go.
But there was a lot of like, okay, I've never done this because I've never had anybody do it for me, you know. But working with the camera people, you know, they're kind of giving you the rundown of what they expect or what they want, and it's like, oh, that sounds easy enough. And except for like the first match at Collision, it was what did I say, Claudio and Brody.
Yeah.
I remember right before the show, I asked my camera guy, it's like, okay, when they do like the barricade spots and things like that, it's like, where do you want me to go? What do you want?
Yeah.
And it's basically like, you know, you see him setting up for that, it's like grab a corner, you know, hug the corner, you know, like where the security guy's sitting. And then if it comes out this way, you know, basically I'm kind of tethered to him, you know, stay behind me so that you're kind of lined up, you know, making yourself as small of a target.
And that's the thing. Yeah. No, I think that's the most interesting to watch there, because I think a lot of people, camera people photographers could learn a lot, you know, because I was really interested to watch, because, you know, I always talk about, like, I would watch the camera people at WWE when WWE was not interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I would still grab a ticket, get in the nosebleeds, go watch Raw, and just see how everybody moved. That's what informed a lot lot of the methods that we use right now.
It's like, what are they doing on TV? Okay, how can we translate that?
And
to,
even the still camera person is doing the same thing you just talked about. You know, and that's one thing that, like, I wish I could translate that to the rando camera person at wrestling shows. We're like, no, you stay the fuck out of my way. You stay behind me because we're the fucking pay-per-view. You know, and you know, and that's kind of a thing. Because that's the professional way to do it. You don't go in, take a picture, do a quick, like, no look camera pick in front of my camera. You know, like that is the thing that will annoy the absolute fuck out of me on big shows that we do. That are definitely being watched by a number of people. So
and we were told too, like like the, you know, kind of the head utility guy Joe was like, yeah, guys, don't have your phones out during the show. And then, like, people do that. You know, like I can understand kind of, you know, during ad breaks, but you never know when the ad breaks are, especially because they have their restaurant quality picture in picture. But yeah, so I'm watching what the camera guy is doing, and again, like I said, with all that shit happening right away, I kind of, you know, I didn't like fumble it, but I could have done a better job of keeping out of the way, you know, but to the point that, like, later on when he had a similar thing, you know, like I said, that big pull apart, it's like, oh, okay, I know what to do now because it's happened.
You've done it a million times.
And it all happened.
Exactly.
But I'd be watching the camera guy and what he's doing, and, you know, and there's, you know, like I say, he describes kind of what he expects of you, but especially that first camera guy does a lot of the same stuff I do when he's propped himself up against the ring doing these weird, like, leans and things where it's like, I've noticed when I see myself on camera, you know, it's like, wow, I look kind of, you know, like, I'm kind of,
I have the same experience
contorting myself to where it's like, oh, I do that, you know, and
is it like I do the kind of, like, the lean on the apron kind of thing to steady myself? Is that what we're talking about here?
It's kind of a, you know, like, when you're trying to get between
I'm also
the ropes,
kind of the right height to do that I think most of you guys are not,
but it's kind of a like, to get the kind of shots I want to get a lot of the time, you know, especially cut between the ropes, it's one of those, like, I'm too tall and too short, you know, to where it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna park myself at this angle and make myself about 4 inches shorter.
Plus it's on their shoulder, which adds another couple inches, right? So, like, they have, like, full shoulder. Have you done a shoulder cam? Have you done a shoulder cam, like, for New Japan or anything like that?
And it was terribly
uncomfortable. I hate it. I did like one boxing show with the shoulder cam, and it was the worst experience.
It was something where I probably needed to fuck with it more before the show to kind of customize it. But so I'm watching what the camera guy's doing, and there were points where he didn't really have to cover the back of the ring so much because the other side of the ring had more coverage with, you know, you had...
it's great when you have more than 2 cameras out there.
Yeah, I know, crazy, right? but there would be points where he ran to the back, thinking, you know, maybe something was happening in that corner, or somebody did go out the back, where he went just to kind of give more coverage, but then would come right back. So you had all this loose cable. So I would do kind of what, and the whole point is to have, you know, to where they've got as much cable as they need at any given time, but not enough that anybody's going to trip on it, you know. So. there's like times when I'm working ringside where I go out and I come back where I'll just whip the cable to kind of snap it back, where I was doing kind of a similar thing, to snap it back to myself so that I could roll it up, so that, and to kind of keep it clear. So it's interesting doing it for somebody else and actually having more of a, I can use both hands.
So that's interesting. So like the Wranglers are typically local. Camera guys, I presume, travel with them. I've always been interested about the hierarchy of production that you never get to see. So
and again, because I know other people.
Yes.
I like I said, I was able to talk to Mark some more, and he knows that I know what's up when it comes.
Because you guys work together. Yeah, absolutely.
And and he was like talking me up to some of the other people too, and that's cool. What was I saying?
That's very cool.
But seeing that up on that level there, it's like it's just like a lot of other things. It's not that much different than working an indie show. There's just more moving parts. And it turns out they have even more cameras than I thought, because I've got the production book, that tells you everybody that's there and everybody, in everybody's position. And there's like, I don't know, like 20 cameras, something like that, or something. I remember being at the show and counting, like that.
Yeah.
But then there's also
or they do a wild shot you see on the screen. You're like, oh, where's that camera at?
Yeah, where's that?
Up there,
but again, because you only see it once or twice the entire show, and if you're in the arena, you don't see it at all. Because like that big wide shot at the end of the arena. That if you're watching it on TV, you notice it. But that's and they had a lot of it. I mean, the attendance on those Saturday night shows especially, they're not selling out.
They're generally not good on those. But it's also Saturday night. There's a lot of competition there.
And I was telling you too that once the show started, I couldn't tell you how full the place was because I was trying to be discreet.
Absolutely.
And
it looks like it was smaller than the Peterson Event Center for Pittsburgh.
It was smaller.
But it definitely felt smaller a little bit. So.
And it was a lot more of it probably was blocked off too. But and I think I told you it wasn't until the end of the show where I like stood up and like walked around, stretched out, that I could really see kind of who was around. But that was after 2 hours of ROH.
I have a feeling I feel like that's one of those shows where they're not doing it for the ticket sales, they're doing it because TNT's getting the money to do it. It's definitely like an add-on kind of thing for them.
And you've seen the and again, I was talking to some of our local guys who we see every week anyway, and talking about how, like with Dark, how that's kind of gone to the wayside. That's no more.
I mean, it's Ring of Honor.
And there really aren't any spots for local guys anymore, except for, in terms of matches, but unless it's a squash match or it's a, something where, unless you're doing the security guy spot, And that's where you've got,
it's got to be hard to show your worth in a security spot like that. So
you're not getting a chance to shine. And that's kind of where it's frustrating too for the people. Like I said, you had like Cole was there, but wasn't given anything to do. And I know he ended up leaving a little early because I saw him at, pictures of him at like an after party for some other thing, 2 hours away, so it's like, oh, that's good that he didn't have to stick around the whole night to not do anything, but it's, well, speaking of like filmmaking and stuff, I've worked in movies and TV a lot where sometimes it's better that somebody doesn't know who you are because you'll work more or you'll have a spot and everything, whereas if like say if Cole wasn't an established member of the roster, I mean, he's been there a long time now, but if he'd have been one of the security guys going out there.
He's in a program with Maria.
Yeah.
Like he's in an okay spot.
And she was there.
Yeah.
And again,
they're also doing stuff with her and Layla Hirsch. So
and Rachel Ellering was who they were out with. So that's one of those things where excuse me, even if he wasn't wrestling, he still could have been part of the posse.
Absolutely.
That comes out.
Depends on how they work it out. But
it's
interesting.
It
is interesting, and I know the news is final battle is like under 1,000 ticket sales right now.
Yeah.
Joey Janela was going off about it. I'm in for the Ring of Honor product, and I'm kind of seeing where it goes. I have Honor Club. I've been enjoying it from week to week as another wrestling show.
Yeah.
Also, I like all the people on there.
And if you're watching ROH and you're watching it on Honor Club, right? That's where it's at.
Yeah.
you're kind of preaching to the choir,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And speaking of that too, I thought it was kind of odd that like during all of Collision, I'm sure you see it in some of the shots where they have the World's End, December whatever 30th, on one of the screens.
Yeah.
They didn't change it for ROH.
Nope.
They should have had.
Very interesting. And also,
Final
has
Battle.
anybody noticed? I don't think I've seen one promotion for Final Battle.
Yeah.
On AEW television.
Yeah.
And we're wondering why tickets aren't selling in Texas. Mm-hmm. Like, it's very strange to me.
Yeah.
Like now I am like, no, this is something's up here.
Yeah.
They moved it to that off of pay-per-view and not supporting it.
Yeah.
Like we've had like Athena versus Billy Starks is I think the only match was the first match that was announced. They may have another one now.
There was another one that was signed.
Okay.
Which,
so
again, not having watched.
Keith Lee and Shane Taylor, I think, got announced on Collision.
I think
they did a promo there.
I think there was, but there was another because there was a contract signing for another one. On ROH, which
don't spoil me. I'm going to watch it this week.
But you won't imagine how this contract signing goes.
What?
I know what.
What?
But
Stokely Hathaway doesn't have this thing on lockdown.
Yeah. and finally, and Lee. Yeah, Lee Moriarty had a match with Tracy Williams. Yeah, Hot Sauce.
Hot Sauce.
Yeah, which might be the main event of whatever episode of ROH.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
No.
Well, like I was saying, and
no, those things are not shot in order. At all.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean that's why I think that's like I said with the Pittsburgh show last week.
Hot Sauce was on the dark match at Pittsburgh.
But like I was saying with the Pittsburgh show last week. I didn't watch the ROH show, but it seems like what would have been the main event was probably the second match of the 4 or whatever. And I think that's kind of the way this was too. Like they ended on a send the crowd home happy kind of moment.
Yep.
So,
thank you for that behind the scenes report there. Very interesting. I want to give a shout out to our friends now. We didn't have any pizza left because all the kids from that were here for Awesome Cast already ate it. But they get Slice on Broadway. We try to feed all of our guests, but we're getting too many lately. New York City style yins are made 4 or 5, 6 locations. I don't even know right now in the Pittsburgh area. I'm going to give a shout out to our friends. SliceOnBroadway.com. Support them if you're in the area. So with that, it's time to find out what did we learn from wrestling this week or recently. I know you guys haven't been on for a bit. Reese, what have you learned from wrestling? How maybe in your first year?
Jeez. Well, first of all, I just want to say I'm jealous that y'all don't have to have shoulder-mounted cameras most of the time.
Yeah.
Shit's rough.
There's a reason I pick the cameras I do.
Yeah.
We were down
one of the many reasons.
We were down in Charlotte shooting Ashe.
Yes.
Show, and
I've seen a lot from that.
And it was awesome. But the guy who was doing the live stream. He had all these like the Teradek wireless mounts. So I had my shoulder mount camera on that was like 3 feet above me.
Yeah, it gets real awkward.
Like stacked.
That's
up.
one of the 3 reasons I don't use wireless.
Yeah, it hurts though. Sometimes the shorter things.
I got a story for after the show.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot about wrestling. So I don't know what to say. It's really hard though. That's the big thing. Is it sometimes like I said earlier. I was like, I was watching Enjoy. I was like, I could do that, and I was mostly wrong. It's really difficult. So.
Love it. Awesome. Rob, what'd you learn from?
Let's see.
I mean, you mostly kind of did what you learned.
Yeah,
Was there anything additional?
I've learned again that just hopping in the right car and going on the right trip can lead to some pretty good stuff. Like, yeah.
It is kind of interesting that us as camera people have like kind of ridden the roads and found ourselves in similar like, oh hey, I can get a gig here kind of thing.
Because I can run this back to pretty much my first AAW trip. As far as this led to me working this, which led to.
Slide over on the couch there. I don't know what's
Did I? I don't think.
Yeah,
I did.
I don't know. You're like a sea sponge moving inch by inch, and we don't notice until it's too late.
But yeah, like I said, I can kind of mark the entire. Map out the chain of events that led to getting to work for AEW this last weekend.
My road's.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does my road start at WrestleCon or in Dallas, or does my road actually start in Cleveland? I'm not sure about that. So, no, it's really interesting how that works out here, and I'm still, I think both of us have had a mind blowing last couple of years when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
For our profession, so it's been really cool to get out there and be part of the conversation, I guess, is one way to put it.
Be around for stuff.
Yes. Only if there was a PWI video op 100.
Yeah.
And
it's a thankless job.
We can figure out, right? We can figure out where we actually rank. But
Yeah.
it feels like we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
So.
Well, or even when I was talking to some of the AEW people, like the production, like you said, Joe, the head utility guy, I'm like, God, it's Dude, such a small world.
Listen, no, that's one thing I've definitely realized over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we literally watch a program every week where there's at least double digits of people behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That know our names.
And like I was saying, I don't remember if it was before the show, where when I was running into people backstage at AEW, it wasn't like, what are you doing here? So much as where were you last week when we were in Pittsburgh?
Exactly.
like we expect to see you everywhere we go.
Yeah. Do you get the thing, I get the thing where people are relieved when they see me behind production? It's like, oh shit, you know what you're doing. Great.
Or you're talking about the frustrations of trying to get work when you're showing up there. It's like, oh God, somebody I can vent to that can understand their plight.
I learned that wrestling is everywhere and everything. I am continuing. I think I talk about this on Patreon. I'm continuing to play Yakuza games, and my God, it's all pro wrestling.
Yeah.
There's so many references to pro wrestling there. I still need to get the Yakuza 6 where they actually have like 12 New Japan guys in there.
Yeah.
There is a hard wrestling angle on some of these things. I'm playing Yakuza 0, and I just started playing the Like a Dragon game that has the weird RPG stuff, and it's just we're not even hiding it here. It's cool, and of course it's Japan, and they must be New Japan fans, and that's been really cool.
Yeah.
Also amazed and shocked when I walked up to, I can't remember if I said this before the show or on the show. I went to work with the Maverick MMA on Friday and Saturday this weekend. That's why I didn't go to Erie. And walk up, and there's Battlefield Pro Wrestling, which is off of Junior's promotion up there in Northeast Pennsylvania. It turns out they run every last Sunday. Now that I know that, and I had a long conversation with their in-house production guy.
Yeah.
The light and sound kind of facility guy. And the last Sunday of every month. So if we end up going out that way for a gig, we might have to keep an eye out for that. So they're streaming, and it was really cool to kind of talk about that. And again, just wrestling is everywhere. Wrestling is everywhere.
I just
when they're not even trying.
Or I just remember too. It's like I said hi to Bryce Remsburg.
Yeah.
And he's who he doesn't know me particularly well. I went to a seminar of his last year, but I'm like, hey, if you need a testimonial for how seminars work, it's like it only took me a year and a half to get from the seminar to working an AEW show. So
wait, you did the seminar or you were there?
No, I was there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Referee seminars, the Jimmy Corderas seminars, where I've learned a lot of things about wrestling production.
Yeah.
So
because
the horseshoe. For instance.
Because the one I went to of Bryce's was non-physical roles in wrestling.
Yes.
Kind of,
I think he's doing another one of those at Evo Uno's with Evo Uno up in Canada or something.
Yeah.
Anyways, Reese Hayes, where can people find you? You're of course every Thursday representing 880 with the championship.
Yeah, tune in right here, IndyWrestling.us on the YouTube. Or Twitch or Facebook. You're on everything.
We're kind of expanding that a little bit.
Yeah, watch me defend
maybe
this
LinkedIn
spray-painted belt.
I hit a button and you guys were on LinkedIn last week. So that was. Are we the first wrestling promotion in the broadcast on LinkedIn? I don't know.
Is Quibi still a thing?
Is Quibi?
No,
Quibi? No,
I don't think that was ever a thing.
But it was a thing for like 3 months.
Yeah.
I watched some Reno 911. I just that was nice.
Yeah.
Anyways, and of course Rob. I mean, you're on Facebook, I guess. He'll be backstage at your favorite wrestling show sooner or later. And of course at Sorgatron, a lot of stuff going on. Like I said, 880 Thursday Night Fights is happening this Friday. We will be having Thursday. It's very late.
It's in the name.
Did you say Thursday Night Fights was Friday?
Thursday Night Fights on Friday.
Occasionally Friday.
See
You
how
know,
this
sometimes
goes.
they're
Listen.
preempted for the Westminster Dog.
Sometimes they're on Wednesday. You know, it depends.
You know, the World Series is going on,
Yeah.
and yeah, Wimbledon,
The US Open.
US Open, yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, wouldn't that be funny? If
You should run something else at that time.
Friday is streaming something though. It's Prospect Pro Wrestling's Wreck the Halls is going to be free. Also on IndyWrestling.us, it is actually going to be a benefit for a young girl with leukemia. Doink the Clown will be there, and Matt Cross. I don't think in the same match. Which then you have to question: is Doink the Clown actually Matt Cross? I'll posit that to you.
Never
for Friday.
seen them both in the
I
same
have never
place
seen them
at the
both in the same
time.
place, and I'm going to be looking. So there you go. And then on Saturday, we will have RWA's Seasons Beatings. They just announced that there's going to be a Steel City Gauntlet where the Rev Ron Hunt will be defending his RWA championship. That's going to be with I don't know, there's like 6 people in that match. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So it looks like him versus 5 people, which
Rev versus the world.
it was very Rev versus the world. Matt Cross versus HL Supreme, formerly known as Super Hentai, I know is on Friday at the 2PW. Matt Cross is taking on, why am I not remembering right now?
I think it's Matt Cross versus HL Supreme.
At Friday.
I think.
At Friday at Prospect Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
Also, I almost forgot. Pasta Deathmatch 3, Fans Bring the Pasta Weapons is happening Friday. You can watch that for free on IndyWrestling.us.
Always a good time.
Always a good time.
I think you know, like Flexors really gotta outdo him. I think we need an exploding, some sort of explode. Oh, you know what? Replace the ropes with like linguine.
You know,
or
I think
spaghetti.
Have you? I don't know if he said this out loud on the show, but I'll say it on Patreon. There's a big idea that I don't think they're doing for this because I don't think they've convinced the promoter.
Well,
about it.
well,
Here you
yeah,
go.
like that. Like that's
the
gonna stop 'em.
Battle of Cleveland. J Rock. Oh
Yeah.
wait, that's not the button for that. I don't have graphics. J Rock versus Matt Cross actually is
Okay.
going to be happening Saturday. So if you want a week of Matt Cross in the Pittsburgh area, you got some opportunities there. And yeah, I think that's all I got going on right now. Thank you everybody for joining us. Stick around. If you're on Patreon, we'll have some extra stuff for you. We'll see you guys next time. Mayhem out.
Just wait, just wait, just wait, just wait. Wait for the perfect time, then attack. Don't give up what you want, take it back. Wait for the perfect time, then attack.
This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.